Hello again, this is Sam Houston, and welcome to My Front Porch. A disaster hits home hard. The 4th of July may well be the most celebrated holiday we have outside of Christmas. It's a time for picnics, parades, ball games, street dances, barbecues, and cookouts. Families get together, friends gather, and neighbors join to celebrate our nation's birthday. We also celebrate each other and the lives we've created. For many of us, this past 4th was a 3-day break from work, a time when we could eat and drink to our heart's desired and spend time submerged in the pastimes we enjoy. The night culminated by observing fireworks, followed by sitting around the fire pit and relishing the coolness of the evening. It was a special time. It was unique. It will be treasured and remembered. Unfortunately, the music stopped in the Texas Hill Country over the weekend. The festivities, the fun, the anticipation, all came to a screeching halt as the skies opened and poured down as much as 20 inches of rain. The resulting flash flood created a horror which heretofore could only be imagined. It's been reported that the Guadalupe River rose as much as 26 feet in just 45 minutes. Hundreds of people who had no intent other than to enjoy the weekend celebrating suddenly found their lives dangling from a very thin thread as their cars, campers, and even their houses were washed down the river. There was little time to react, and even less to escape. I cannot imagine the horror of those swept into the turbulent waters and their last thoughts as they perished. I feel certain that, for many, there was a sense of bewilderment, simply not being able to process how something so devastating could happen so fast and without much of any warning. For those fortunate enough to escape the death grip of the water, having no ability to assist others in mortal danger must have been just as bewildering and devastating, a scene which will be burned into their memories for the rest of their lives. As I watched the news on TV, it was hard for me not to turn away. I wanted to know what had happened, and I prayed for good news. But the good news never came, only the growing list of the people who had perished. My granddaughters are 7 and 9 years old, and I could not help but think what I would do if they'd have been at the church camp on the river and had been washed away. The image was so terrible that I hung my head and had tears in my eyes. Then I prayed, like many of you did, hoping that somehow it would bring comfort to the parents who had lost children and the families who had lost loved ones. Who can understand the pain they must be feeling? I was proud of the number of Texans who rushed to help and search for survivors. I was proud to hear of those who almost immediately started to raise money for the victims, including celebrities like George Strait and Robert Earl Keen. The whole state of Texas, and perhaps the entire nation, fell to its knees and asked, why? We were all hoping for understanding in an unimaginable circumstances. Then we prayed for peace for those who were suffering. There's no explanation as to why this tragedy happened. After disaster and loss, it's normal for people to look for someone to blame. I'm not sure, but I doubt there's some single entity or person responsible for this catastrophe. The flash flood was a sad and unfortunate act of Mother Nature, one nobody is likely to forget anytime soon. The only good to come out of it is that perhaps next year on the 4th, we will celebrate just a little bit harder and hold our friends and family just a little closer, knowing that the future is always uncertain, and we should appreciate the joys we have. I'd like to think I will, but it's going to take me a while to get over this one. Knowing my friends and neighbors, I bet they feel the same way. Thought for the day. Everything changed one day, and yet nothing changed. My love for you continues. Until next time, I'll keep riding the storm out.
You've been listening to From My Front Porch with Sam Houston, brought to you by the Granbury Theater Company. You can catch Sam's column every week in the print edition of the Hood County News or online at hcnews.com.